Cobra. Right here. Yeah, so I want to talk about Cobra Power, Cobra Energy. Okay, so I'm actually wearing my Cobra shirt, and I'm wearing my Cobra ring, and I actually wore this ring on the last video I did with my song called Heartburst. It's got a very empowering energy to it, and that's kind of what we're going to talk about here with Cobra. So it's funny when I had like a meditation where there was a snake laying an egg, this imagery, and Cobra kind of kept on coming into my mind. So, when things like that sort of happen, then I take notice and want to investigate more. And what does it mean? What does it mean to me? What can it mean to other people? What does it mean in general? So, I got up my couch. I'm wearing my sweatshirt that I just got. I pulled my hood over, and I'm sitting on the couch on my phone. I'm like, we'll just look up Cobra, see what comes up. I got my own things that maybe I could talk about, but I want to just look into it a little bit. I'm investigating, pull it up. First thing that comes up is that it talks about Cobra being, that it's a hooded snake. And I was just like, here I am with a hood on. I mean, I kind of look like I'm wearing, kind of look Cobra-like maybe with my hair is like encompassing, maybe. But I was just like, okay, this is a synchronicity that I need to be taking notice of, and I support you in when synchronicities do come up to follow those things, and they mean something, or really investigate and think about what they can mean to you and stuff like that. But usually it's like things are on focus. So anyway, I felt called to be talking about Cobra, so I'm going to talk about it. I feel like talking about Cobra. Cobra power. Everything's powerful to me. I have a Pluto conjunction, so that's like everything's powerful. But just sharing with you, my kind of mystical mind and how things can be used in maybe like a spiritual way or whatever. Yeah. The Cobra, just thinking about it, has like it symbolizes protection. Okay, most of all, I feel this is like a protective type of power. When you look like in India and Egypt, a lot of that symbolism is of a protective one. Maybe they're using it for like protecting a sacred space. Okay, or maybe like a king or a god or something is like protected by cobras. Oh, Buddha. Buddha was also protected by cobras, in a lot of the readings and stuff like that. So, it's like, it's powerful stuff. So when we're talking about protection, I also want to tie this in with Aries energy too, because I feel like it works well with Aries. Okay, and in that aspect, protecting oneself. Okay, and protecting others. So when Aries is a special power, that we all have Aries within us. Okay, so it's when we can use this Cobra energy to stand up for ourselves. Cobra stands up. It's like, come on, what? It's a snake. Snakes are like bound to the ground, but this one can be like, what? So it stands up for himself. That's like the main thing that I can think about of what Cobra power is. It empowers himself. It hisses. It speaks. It communicates. This is how it's like, hey, stand back, look out. This is how I'm protecting probably my kids, or I'm protecting myself. Okay, Aries energy is more self-oriented. Okay, and so I wanted to kind of bring up the story. There's a ancient story about a snake. Story about a snake, and this is a, like there's a, a snake slithers into a, a village at night, and it just like grabbing children and eating them up. Horrible, horrifying. Of course we're gonna be afraid of snakes. And a sage is like took the snake aside. He's like, you can't be eating kids. Like this is our future. Kids are our future and all that. It's like it's just inappropriate to be, eating our kids. So stop that. And so the next day, the sage was out for a morning walk, just delighting in everything and thinking and philosophizing, and it just hears a big ruckus, and there's these kids beating up on this snake, about to kill it, just like demolishing this snake. And so the sage runs in and stands up, protects the snake, and grabs and pulls him away from, destruction, and takes the snake aside. It's like, I told you not to, come into town and cause a ruckus and eating kids, but I didn't tell you not to hiss, And so he's basically saying that we need to be able to stand up for ourselves and communicate and be protective of our self, letting other people know that how we're feeling, and especially when it comes to protecting ourselves. So this is about like boundaries, setting boundaries maybe, but it's more about like protecting set boundaries, or like your your environment, protecting you. Okay. So it's also connected to, when I think of the number 2, it looks like a snake. Especially the cursive style snake has got a little swirl at the end of it. It looks like a snake. That's awesome. Well, the number 2 in astrology is associated with Taurus. Well, that's the bull, but I mean it's associated with the second house, and that has to do with self-respect, your own values, your self-worth. Okay, so Cobra stands up for these things. So we use this Cobra power to activate this stuff within us to stand up for ourselves and to speak and communicate, to hiss. Okay, it doesn't have to be negative. It's just about speaking up. You got emotions that come up within your, talk with somebody maybe, then it's a matter of speaking up how you feel, right? So you're self-expressing. Okay. And so that is a core of your inner self. That's a core of you being you, standing in your own energy, and letting other people know where you stand. Okay. So that's kind of an Aries energy. Aries is a protective energy, especially in Aries can balance their energy. Aries is more self-oriented. They will act and do and go leap into action without very much forethought. They're more into the experience. And what happens is what happens. I'll just accept or not. What goes on from me jumping into doing this experience. Which is cool thing. But also Aries can be balanced by other, self and other. So maybe taking into consideration another, or taking into consideration what I do has an effect on other people. Okay, so that's kind of like a positive Aries energy, to include other with your own power. I use my power to protect someone else. I'm going to use my energy to be a part of something bigger than I am. That's Aries energy too. It's not just self-oriented, just for me. It can be, which is important in our lives. That's what I'm trying to say. This Cobra energy is important for us to be connected with our being and how we are, and communicate that and stand in our own selfness. That's healthy too, right? And it's also healthy when we are bringing that balance of other and understand how we are with others. Okay. So self-expression, super powerful. Use Cobra energy. Stand up for yourself. There's a lot of people that can't, that have a difficult time doing that. Some people don't. Very easy. Some people not. Very difficult. Doesn't come natural. Okay. So I want to bring up what this Cobra energy can be used for. Call upon it, Cobra, to be helpful in these situations. Let people know how you feel. Speak up. You don't even need to be in a in a conversation or in a confrontation to speak up. It can be in any sort of back and forth with somebody or relationship or whatever. I'm just saying this Cobra energy can be associated with speaking your mind, using your self-expression, talking. Okay. This also has to do with fear. When we see if we were to see a cobra in front of us, man, I'd be freaking scared. I don't like snakes anyway, so it's like, it's just not my bag or whatever. But I love this snake, and I love the symbology of snakes. That's what I'm talking about. It's helpful to me. That's but I'm not really too into snakes, but they're helpful. This energy is helpful. I love it. So, but fear, anyway. So, yeah, a lot of people are afraid of snakes. You think of, it reminds me of Indiana Jones, that movie, I hate snakes. Start the plane. Comes face to face with that cobra. So, yeah, and that those snakes and the cobra was protecting something very sacred, right? So yeah, fear. When we're approached by fear, fear is something that we either that can keep us where we are. We prefer to be safe. We want it. It can prevent us from moving forward. It can prevent us from moving on to a new experience. We're afraid to move forward sometimes in the face of fear. Fear can be like really like, hey, we could die. That's like real fear, That's like fear where, that's what fear is supposed to be used for. That's that's real. That's real, It's security, and it's a fight or flight type deal, that's supposed to be used for our survival as human beings, So but our minds, for a lot of people, can get coiled up in sort of like a unrealness of what fear is, and all sorts of things, and an anxiousness can come from thinking about what can happen, okay? And it can stop us from doing something. And keep us where we're at. So call upon this Cobra Power to move beyond it. Feel the fear and do it anyway, right? We're confronted with fear. I want to bring this aspect of, in astrology, we talk about squares. Okay, so when two objects are 90 degrees from each other, this is a square aspect, or this particular 90-degree square aspect has to do with a choice. A choice based on fear or a choice based on courage. So you're either choosing to stay in this spot, or you're choosing to move forward, continuing on into new realms. Aries, again, newness, courage, moving into a new experience. Okay, it's all intertwined with that. All I was just thinking, like, Aries is like red. Okay, Cobra lives in hot environment. Again, kind of those are Aries themes too. And also, We could talk about like Scorpio. You know, snake energy. That's Scorpio too. Transformation, death and rebirth. You know, like resurrection. You know, letting go of one's skin, shedding one's skin. You know, becoming anew. All of that is our Scorpio vibes too. So wanted to bring those up. So I hope that these things about you know, an empowerment too. That is very Scorpio. Okay, my power versus other and other people's power. How are other people's power? How am I putting my power in other people? Like, am I using my energy on for you know to others? Am I giving too much of? Am I giving up too much of myself to another, or am I in my own power? Okay, am I being controlled by someone else, or am I in my power and I have my own control? You know, and I'm in control of myself. Okay, so those are Scorpio energies too. Now we all got just like you know what I learned and what everybody. This is like everyone has all of the signs in their birth chart. I have Scorpio, I have Aries, I have Libra, I have you know Cancer, I've got Capricorn. Everything we all got. So there's these energies. That's why I like to talk about them. And then you can know, like, hey, how is this energy happening in my life? Okay. If you want a reading from me, birth chart reading, then contact me. Love to talk to you about this stuff. How are these energies affecting you? How are the planets, the outer world, like being, you know, how are these energies active in your life? You're born with these energies that's unique to you. How do you choose to be using them or not? So that's, you know, just want to explain the stuff to you and the power of Cobra, the power of how something so scary and maybe negative and maybe a lot of people would say, or society or whatever, and make it a positive thing. This is something that we can all do, is turn negatives into positives when we incorporate them into our lives and in ways that they can be positive for us. Okay. Learn from them. They're gifts. They are helpful to us. Sometimes this is not easy, especially when things are really freaking hard. Okay. And we can't see it right away. It usually takes time in order to be like, yeah, that you know, I understand why that happened or whatever. So I just wanted to share with you Cobra Power, and to bring that into your energy when you need to. Okay, think about how Cobra energy can work in your life. So that's about it. All right, take care, peace, all that good stuff. Bye.